హ్మ్. సార్ లింక్ పెట్టాను చూడండి ఒకసారి. ఆ,
పెట్టావా? యూట్యూబ్లోకి యాడ్ అయిపోతుంది. రాజ్దీప్ తిరుపతి యూట్యూబ్ క్రియేట్ చేశారు. బెటర్ కదా, చాలా మంది జాయిన్ అవ్వచ్చు కదా. సరే, మీ అందరికీ పెట్టేస్తున్నాను. అమ్మా, రామకృష్ణ సార్కి అందరికీ పెట్టాము ఒకసారి. వెరీ గుడ్. ఇదే ఓకే కదా, అందరికీ ఫాల్ట్ రాదు కదా.
ఫాల్ట్ ఏం రాదు సార్. నేను మేనేజ్ చేస్తాను, ఇప్పుడు చూస్తాను.
అదే ఇది పెడతాను, యూట్యూబ్ లింక్ అని పెడతాను.
హ్మ్. జీమెయిల్ కావాలి.
జాయిన్ మీ గెస్ట్ స్పీకర్ లక్ష్య. రాజీవ్ నీకు పెడుతున్నాను, ఒకసారి చూసుకోమ్మా.
చూసుకోవచ్చు సార్ యూట్యూబ్లో.
అదే అన్నాను, ఎవరికి వాళ్ళు చూసుకోవచ్చు. ఎవరి ఇంకా ఎవరికి చూసుకోవచ్చు. ఓకే, నీకు పెట్టేస్తాను రాజదీప్. పెట్టేస్తున్నాను ఇప్పుడే. ఇవన్నీ కూడా తిరుపతి నువ్వు ట్రైన్ చేసేది బంగారం, అందరిని బట్టి మనుషులు అలా పడుతుందా. వాళ్ళకి యూట్యూబ్ లింక్ అంటే ఏంటో తెలియదు వీళ్ళకి. నాది నేర్చుకునే వయసు కాదు నాది. ఇప్పుడు ఏం నేర్చుకుంటాను చెప్పు నేను ఇవన్నీ. నాకుంటే హెడేక్స్తో నాకు వస్తున్నాను. అమ్మా రామకృష్ణ గారు చేయి, బలరామకృష్ణ సార్ సినిమా హాల్లో. హలో రాకేష్, అతుల్ ప్రసాద్ చెయ్యి, రామకృష్ణ గారు చెయ్యి. వాళ్ళిద్దరు సినిమా హాల్లో ఉన్నారు. యూట్యూబ్ లింక్ వచ్చేస్తే వాళ్ళు జాయిన్ అయిపోతారు. ఇప్పుడు తెలీదు కదా, మనం పెడితే కానీ వాళ్ళకి ఎలా తెలుస్తుంది. పెట్టామని కూడా చూడాలి కదా, వాళ్ళు చూసుకోరు కదా లేకపోతే. ప్రసాద్కి చెయ్యి, యూట్యూబ్ లింక్ పెట్టారు రామకృష్ణ సార్ అని చెప్పు. ప్రాబ్లం ఏం రాదు కదా, ఎందుకంటే అందరికి వెళ్ళిపోయింది. కృష్ణ తరుణ్, అమ్మా తరుణ్ సార్ ఫోన్ చేయి, సెకండ్ ఇయర్ అంతా అటెండ్ అవ్వచ్చు. మీరు మన వాడు ధైర్యం ఇస్తాడు కదా మరి. ఇంకా
అన్ని ఇయర్స్ మొత్తం అన్ని గ్రూప్లో పోస్ట్ చేసాను.
పెట్టేస్తాను ఈవేళ అంతా హబా దొరుకుతున్నావు. నీరజా మేడం మనవాడి
తెలుసు మేడం, తెలిసి పెట్టాను మేడం.
పెట్టారు మేడం. యూట్యూబ్ లింక్ నీరజా మేడం, మనవాడు టెక్నికాలిటీ యూట్యూబ్ లింక్ క్రియేట్ చేసేప్పుడు లింక్ మీకు పెట్టించు, అందరికి అటెండ్ అయిపోవచ్చు. గెస్ట్ స్పీకర్ మీరు నేర్చేసుకోవాలి యూట్యూబ్ లింక్. చేస్తారండి, ఆ తెలివితేటలు ఉన్నాయి వాళ్ళ. చేస్తానండి, నా తెలియదు, ఇంటెలిజెంట్. ఆల్ స్టూడెంట్స్ కి జాయిన్ కదా. ఇంకా
ఎంతమంది జాయిన్ చేస్తారు? బయట కాలేజీలో కూడా జాయిన్ అయిపోవచ్చు. యూనివర్సల్ సార్ ఇది. ఎవరిని జాయిన్ వినొచ్చు అది సెషన్.
సుభాష్ సార్, హలో
సార్ చెప్పండి సార్. సార్ చెప్పండి సార్.
సుభాష్ సార్.
సార్ చెప్పండి.
హలో, am I
Sir,
audible, sir?
yes sir, you are audible sir.
Okay, so I think sir will join in next 5 minutes. We'll wait for him.
Okay sir.
Hmm.
Sureka madam, are you there in the call?
Yes, sir.
Video, can you please switch on your video, please? Yes, super. Can you switch on one video covering the students also, please?
Yes, sir, we are arranging that, sir.
Hello?
We are arranging that, sir.
Yeah, please do that. Yeah. So guests will be able to see the audience and
Good afternoon, Dr. Y.V.N. Yes, are you ready?
Good afternoon, Akka. Only that video has to be on.
So I'm very proud of you. Fortunate to have you to interact with the kite group, right?
Thank you, Akka.
We are
Uh,
fortunate to have you to entitle the geospatial satellite and remote sensing,
Okay. Thank you.
right? Okay.
Can I have the video on? Actually, someone has to enable me the video. I'm not
Rajdeep, can you quickly on the video of sir? Rajdeep.
One minute, Babu.
Yeah.
video.
So the other device is being joined, sir. So students will be visible in a while. Meanwhile, ma'am will introduce the guest.
Yeah.
We are honored to welcome Dr. Y.V.N. Krishna Murthy, a distinguished scientist who has made monumental contribution to the field of space technology and remote sensing. With a career spanning over 45 years at ISRO, Dr. Krishna Murthy has played a pivotal role in promoting geospatial technologies for resource management and grassroots development. His leadership has been instrumental in numerous national and international projects, including the SARAC satellite and ISRO space outreach initiatives. A celebrated academician, he has guided several scholars and introduced pioneering educational programs in space science. We are privileged to have him share his insights today on India's space saga. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Krishnamurthy, Y.V.N. Krishnamurthy. Give a
Yeah. Thank you, Akka.
Okay.
Shall I start? I think someone will enable the video, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes, better.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I'll start talking because even the slides are not required. Okay, for this session, where I can have some questions from all of you. You're able to hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So this actually we are celebrating the National Space Day. I hope you're all aware because it's a momentous conclusion for all Indians. Okay. The reason why I'm telling all Indians is each one of you are a partner there because most of you or your parents are paying tax, right? And also when you're using your mobile, you're also paying some tax, GST. So that's how each one of you are part of the success what you had in the Chandrayaan missions or entire the space program. So you don't think you're different, we are different because you're paying the taxes, the government is getting the money. So we scientists are able to deliver something like that. So be proud of what you have and what the country has performed because each one of us has contributed in this significant event. So first, we had to understand how the space program has started with what constraints. Okay, we all look at a launch and we feel happy and we clap, but that's not the scenario. When we started the space program in 60s, already the US has landed on the moon, and Russia has bought samples from there, right? So Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin. So that time still we are not in any of this post program. But when they started off, they had the World War II. At the time, they made all the engines required for the aerospace, the same whatever for the defense which they used. They had all the technology per se to get in the space program. They could take off very well. But in 60s, we didn't have anything. We didn't know about an engine. We had a lot of poverty. I don't know how many of you know that time. And when I was a child, I used to see long queues where many of the parents used to stand to get their rations. Okay, so there's no how when they would have gone to the work. Lucky you are all with work and you have an institute in Kakinada where all the women are getting a benefit of getting the state of art education. I understand you're all working on AI, ML, and also deep learning techniques for this thing. So I'll open up the opportunity when I'm talking about space. Space has a lot of spin-offs. What are those spin-offs which I'll try to take? Here I would like to tell when I'm in the starting of my career as a research scholar, Surek Akka, who is there here, actually also has mentored me in many ways. And also, if she remembers, we also went for arid zone research in Jodhpur, where Farooq Elbas, the one who actually designed the optics for the Apollo missions, was also there. We all had talked together, understood why they are going across the world at the time to understand how the deserts in the world are and how these anomalous. So there are a lot of anomaly with whatever is there on Mars, on the moon, etc. That when you make optics, when you see objects there, we had to understand and learn. So get that feel of it. They visited the Thar Desert and they had an expedition, and some of my colleagues were with the team. So this is where the type of opportunity my professor has given at the time for young researchers like that. Now your principal, Dr. Ramakrishna, and also Sureka madam are giving you an opportunity to understand to what depth you can go and where you can reach. Okay, with a small beginning which you can have, and working on the emerging areas of technology. But then you also have to understand what is the strengths of it and also what are the limitations also, because every technology has its strengths, but also it has certain limitations which you need to do. So starting off at the time when I was telling, when we do not have a proper food, we not have a food security in the country, how we will invest into the space technology, because it's very expensive. Atomic energy, space, that's where they are with the prime minister. They are not been assigned to any other minister. There's always they are with the prime minister. These departments are vetted. That means our ministry is the prime minister. So that's the type of importance it is given, because its applications are wide. So at that time, Homi Baba, Vikram Sarabhai, along with then Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, have really understood and discussed and tried to give emphasis for the space program. And that's how it started as COSPAR, in COSPAR, what is called. And then it has become ISRO in 1969. And then we had a chairman, and the saga goes on. But Vikram Sarabhai, what he did is, he didn't define anything. He gave the opportunities for whom he has recruited youngsters to define themselves what type of a rocket they would like to do, what type of a satellite which they would like to send. And they had to define, and they had to opportunity look at how the things will work. So that much of freedom has given for people to think and implement and design. And of course, we had early little certain failures, etc. That. But then what is the resultant of it to show? There is one satellite of a US, okay, which is not used to its potential. So they have negotiated with them to bring it to the sphere on which covers the western part of the country. What you are having DTH today was demonstrated in all the villages to show how a satellite based space technology communication link, if you have with a multimedia two-way communication, the farmers are asking questions from the villages and the experts are answering, and this all across the western part of the country. It was demonstrated in real time. Someone has a technology, but we used as an application. That's where you please understand, we all try to look at the space technology as an application driven, not something else which we like to have per se. Okay, and this is where the even for getting the first space program initiated. So you can see me speaking from here. So I'm not a virtual, so I'm real. Okay, and then the Vikram Sarabhai and other people that especially he tried to negotiate with the major countries like US and USSR, because they have found that equator, magnetic equator, is near to Trivandrum. Okay, that's called Tumba. And then though there's a war going on, Cold War going on between USSR and USA, they negotiated with them. They brought the French people, and three countries supported us in our sounding rocket program. And that's how the beginning to understand what is meant by a rocket. And the magnetic equator, the atmosphere is very dynamic, which need to be understood. So that the science part of it has been projected, not the technology part, while getting into the space program. So as a youngsters, what you have to understand, it is not that how much knowledge you do have, how do you negotiate with people? That's also very important, because you should know the purpose for what it is being done. If I tell that I'm going to make rockets, no one going to support. A science which will be valuable, and they dedicated this site to UN. This is all available on a book which is called Fishing Hamlet to Mars, okay, planet Mars or Red Planet. So if you go through this e downloadable, you get all this information, what I'm telling. Okay, but I'm highlighting some points which will be important to you why when I'm driving you towards the applications where you have the AI and other applications per se. So that is the beginning. So when there's a challenge, there's an opportunity. If you have everything with you, you have to challenge yourself. If there's no challenge, life is very dull. Please understand this. That's where right from the beginning we have been put in very challenging tasks where it was possible for people like me who come from a village to understand the science, the technology, and its potential for application. What is the need which is there at different places, and how we can mold it to the betterment of the people. Having coming here, you should all understand the when you talk about satellites, we think about first imaging, and also we look at communication. But another segment which has been added is navigation. Okay, this navigation makes things in terms of timing. You can make a timestamp and the location which cannot be manipulated. So if you're on an app, when we use even on your mobile, is also a remote sensor, because you can take photograph, you can communicate, you can navigate. That means the navigation timestamping is there on top of it, and also you can feed some data. So all the things are embedded in your mobile itself. So remote sensing means is nothing just from space, but today it has become more simpler. But mobile needs a satellite based back infrastructure. Okay, and you have a country which is very very large. There's a lot of heterogeneity in our country. Heterogeneity means what? We have villages where it is called 7 day by foot, 3 day by foot in Arunachal Pradesh. You can see a village, but to reach that, you have to camp in two different places to reach the end destination. That's the amount of distance, because the vehicles doesn't go there. You have to go by foot. These are called 3 day by foot. Even those citizens, being part of the country, they are eligible for direct bank transfer, like any of the benefits which are coming to the people who are in the cities and the plains or in the villages. That's where only through satellite communication and the network which is available there, they get direct bank transfer into their accounts. But here, a lot of technologies are involved, because we have to authenticate the person who is taking the receiving the at the receiving end. It's not just the account who is using, who is the beneficiary. These has to be kindly recorded, because someone will audit at the end of the day. This is where your science, what you're looking at, computing, AI, and other things will come in. I will give you more little examples on top of it. You also should understand we didn't look at technology from Chandrayaan when we had to gaze, because we had to discuss little space science when we get into the technology and applications. In 2008, we had our Chandrayaan 1. But to get that, the thoughts came in 1990 itself. That's why the then chairman, Dr. Kasturirangan, had made certain presentations on this subject for at different scientific forums. And Vajpayee ji has given the approval to go for this mission. But then getting money, see, approval is one thing and getting money in hand is a different thing. So for that, as a young scientist of ISRO, I had an opportunity to go erstwhile planning commission for all the deputy secretaries to brief them on where they get why the ISRO is useful for common people. Their question is, how are you useful? What that you're going to do? Because already by that time many people landed, they brought the samples. So how it is relevant today to make the space program, what we are talking about, how it will be relevant and useful for the people. So we had to showcase that something got missed. Though they got the samples, they are in a hurry. They want to show a status that who landed on the moon first. So they missed something. That's where, my friends, your technology is great. But if only you technology without the purpose for what we are, you're going to miss the bus. This is where you have to be very clear. We had to be very clear on the purpose for what we are working. That's where ISRO thought we should see hydroxy molecules. That means the presence of water on the Mars, on the moon, was not studied. So we gave an announcement of opportunity. So it's not just ISRO's instruments, which are 5, but also we got 3 from ESA, 2 from NASA, and also from one Bulgaria. All these instruments together, we could prove hydroxy molecules on the moon. And the first time in the world, though we are late, okay, when we didn't have anything in 60s, when we started our space program, where already person has landed on the moon, and we start back and then become the first to tell hydroxy molecule. So in your life too, the purpose of life and the direction in which you are moving, certain times we get defocused. So we have to bring focus into our life. What is the purpose of life? Then things becomes clearer in whichever tool you have. It can be your mobile, it can be your tools which you are learning today, and how best which way can be used. Few minutes back, I was with a young entrepreneur in JNTU who actually using the geospatial technologies. That means in your AIML, there are other technologies which brings in data. See, AIML means where do you apply that? You need data, and AI and other ML techniques are hungry on data. More data, better your algorithms will work. Okay, that's where we need to have, when you have to generate data, that to location based, because business today is location based. Where are you sitting in that hall? Where you have a beautiful hall there in your wherever you're all sitting there in the auditorium. If I had to reach someone is in uniform and someone is a faculty, I had to send them 2 packets as an information. I can do today within few seconds wherever you are. But what are the image which is coming in my screen? I can detect who it is. I can also detect what is your because Aadhaar, and I can also detect what is your name, and I can do whatever service which you are asking for, because suddenly you need one tablet or you need something, it can be delivered to you, because these all the technologies which is related. Only this AI and ML can speed up the such voluminous data. That's where one of the service, one gentleman, a farmer walks in and shows a photograph of what is the crop, which is tomato crop at a particular stage. They can tell whether there's a disease and what type of yield will come, when he is supposed to harvest, where is the market, and this if the nearest market is not giving the right value, where is the next market which will give a real value, and everything available real time. That means when the farmer is walking in the field itself, he gets all this information. This is where you have to think how well you can use your tools. Okay. Then India also, not only in the first in all this, in 1995, we never had a high resolution data for civilian use. In 1995, it's only 10-meter resolution which is available for the civilian use, or else it's only for the defense purpose it is used. India launched a satellite called IRS-1C. It had 5.8 meters, and that is the one best which could be shown and to the world. And India is a triggering point to trigger such high resolution data is useful for the civilian use. Today, we think the other countries showing better resolutions in terms of centimeter resolutions, etc., that and temporality. But India has contributed triggering this competition amongst others else. And also, the globally today, you see so many people are trying to go to the moon and the Mars again, because India showed that Mars orbiter mission, in the first attempt we can reach the Mars with a less cost. That's a cost effectively we could make that solution. So that's where that time Obama and all questioned why NASA and all are not really thinking big. That's where the competition, either from NASA, ESA, JAXA, everyone started looking in and started working in new programs, and also they're collaborating in ISRO in a big way. You're all aware there's one NSR, that's a very complicated payload called L and S bands, that is in microwave remote sensing. See, the larger the wavelength, more the penetration. That means not only the surface, we can also get subsurface information in terms of soil moisture and other aspects per se. So this is where you have more data, not only from the surface, subsurface, where what you are seeing visually, you cannot comprehend. So you need machines to make them understand for the purpose what it is used. Soil moisture is needed when exactly you need to sow the soil. Sow the seed. If what seed you are sowing depends upon what type of fertilizer has to reach and what type of pesticide has to reach. So these are all looks very simple, but then they need the technology backup and solutions per se. I'll go one step here. See, not only the soil, because soil strength, because majority of our agriculture is on rain-fed agriculture. That's where they look for monsoon. If the monsoon is delayed, the crop growing period, because every crop has a crop growing period. If the crop growing period reduces, they had to use another crop. So we had to find out what is that other seed which is there, and it has to get distributed across the country. It has to go to Arku Valley. It has to go to, because you're near Kakinada, right? In your tribal areas, nearer to the tribal areas, not just in the city, they need this information to go. So who are the people who are selling fertilizer? They should understand, besides the seed, the fertilizer also has to go. And also there is one aspect, there is certain words which I'm using called the basal dosage. Okay, this is means when the rice plant is very small, you need to give certain dosage of fertilizer. That is, doesn't reach in the remote areas. If it reaches, the yields will be much better. Today, we do what is called top dressing. That means that the crop has grown to a certain height. That is when the fertilizer is going. That is not the real nourishment of a small plant to deliver the type of produce what it is looking at. And also, ISRO has kept some specific sensors on shortwave infrared. The shortwave infrared gives you the information on the health of the crop. That means how much of moisture retention is there in the leaf, and also how much moisture it is able to uptake. These are the true men. That means stress. It's a simple example. Suppose you are in a fever. What is that you're going to have? You're not well. You're going to sweat, right? Same way the plants also do that. So that is what we are trying to capture from shortwave infrared band, which gives the input. Similarly, we looked at the fisherman. Fisherman has to know where the fish is. And I'll ask you, from people, you're all from Kakinada, if you go on a boat, can you tell where fish is? Even when you go on a boat, you cannot tell, because fish is under the water, right? It is not on the surface. It's not floating there. So we used a different technique. That is, the fish needs food. So this food is nothing but chlorophyll A. There are 11 different and diatoms. This is what on the fish which we feed, and on the small fish, there are bigger fish will feed. So this is what is called pelagic and demersal fishes, what is called in terms of it. So, but then these kind of phytoplankton also, when you go on a boat, you cannot see with your naked eye. So how you will make a satellite which is 400 kilometers away to detect all this? This is where the technique which comes. Why we are unable to see that scattering part has been studied, and that scattering, to study that, we also had specific sensors. So to remove that hindrances of not understanding, this is where the amount of algorithms and new processes happens. And then exact water leaving radiance is what is recorded, and that water leaving radiance is directly resultant to this phytoplankton. And also there's another factor called sea surface temperature. Suppose in the hall where you are sitting, if it is not comfortable, whatever I'm giving you, it may not go into your head for a long time. Okay, you need comfort. Similarly, the fish also needs comfort. So there's what is called sea surface temperature. So there's another sensors which detect the sea surface temperature. And these fronts, whatever is there, fish doesn't be at one place. This food also keeps moving because there's an ocean currents actually that. So we need wind vectors. So there's a scatterometer in the space which gives this wind vector. So all these three put together, we will know where is the food, so where is the fish, and how it is moving with time. So all three dynamic parameters you are able to get. So today the fishermen are able to get this information. If you go to the fishing harbors, you will find there's a big display board which tells the direction and distance where the fisherman has to go, and they get a fish yield. You know what is the type of benefits which you're getting? Because the area of search has been limited today, the annual savings for the government is 34,000 crores annually, just by ensuring the trawlers or the mechanized boats go to the right place and do the fishing. This is done by an organization called INCOIS. It is in Hyderabad. So it's not the distance. Anything to do with oceans or coast doesn't have to be on the ocean or the seaside. It can be anywhere else, and it can give the type of information. So experts like you can have all that. But if you want to become a bigger expert, you have to know how these sensors are working. You have to go to the field. Unless you go to the field, you will not understand the difference between what is need and dire need. Okay, dire need means if you don't have that information, you're exhausted. That means at a particular time, if you recollect, see, we all need to breathe. Then only we are healthy, right? In COVID time, we understood the constraints, whatever has been there. And then the world has looked into that challenge and tried to bring the vaccine. So when you know the dire need, if that is not there, there's going to be a loss, a huge loss. And the need is, okay, I need food in time. If food doesn't come to me, I can wait for some more time, or for some more time, whatever is it. But if I don't get water, then my time is clicking, maximum 24 hours. Beyond that, I start dehydrating. And less than a minute, if I don't air, so that's when human being cannot survive. So this is where you can have to understand the dire need. In ISRO, we have been given an opportunity to understand the dire need. We have got to villages. Even people like you, youngsters, software. I had a team of software people. I took them on the peak summer to one district in Chandrapur, where the temperatures are more than 47 degrees centigrade and humidity levels are less than 10. That means something like 8%. That means the entire thing you are dehydrating, you don't sweat, but you're dehydrating. Water is going out of from you. In these conditions also, unless we know for whom we are working, for what purpose, our potential will not come. Why I'm telling you this example is, you all are highly potential. You have a great potential, but you have to really challenge your potential. You have to understand the difference between dire need and need, and this is what happens in ISRO. That means we are pushed to a limit where we need to think beyond than what has been published in the books and publications. Then only the results will come, which will be useful for the people, because our country doesn't have that kind of a financial resource which other developed countries has the luxury. And whoever is developed country will not allow the developing countries to come to that level. See, this is what happens. You also see the rich people doesn't want the not common people to become as rich as they are. Okay, each one puts constraints at different level. This is what you have to understand as youngsters. Okay, it's not overnight someone becomes rich. You have to really struggle, understand the dynamics of economics, and also you have to become strategic when you have to really look into the type of output which is going to come out of this. Now, in Chandrayaan 2, we have one of the best images. There's a site in URSC. You kindly just give a Google search asking for this data of these planets from India, and you'll be diverted to the link. If you don't get, I will give you the link. There's huge amount of data which you can directly access about all this. Today, only India has such fine resolution data. We can also see boulders on moon. That's where we are able to know the moon quakes, and we are also knowing what is called tubes, which are analogs to lava tubes in Hawaii Island. That means these tubes are such, they are very surfaced and very safe, and you can reside in that. If you want to have a habitation on moon, we know the locations because we made total 3D mapping of the moon, and this 3D mapping systematically as done by ISRO. And similarly, the Mars orbiter mission, in one attempt, when it has become successful, we know now very clearly about the morphology, the type of material which is there. And as you are aware, what is a 6 days mission has gone for more 7 days or 7 years, in which it has contributed to the data. So it is not just having a launch. How do you maintain an asset? Here also you have to use your techniques, what you're having, because there's a huge amount of data which comes about the health of a satellite, health of a system. So how do you really look in those parameters? Compute faster. Compute faster means how do you do? We only have the standard algorithms. That's where you have to really look in what type of new type of algorithms of AI, ML you can use. While also stressing, I will tell you the problems of AI, ML. Okay, where we have to be cautious on some of these aspects when we talk about. Today, the Prime Minister also has organized in 2015 a conference with all the IAS officers, that right from cabinet secretaries to the new recruitees. There are 1,200 IAS officers who are also the chief secretaries of all the states in Delhi, in Y.V.N. Bhavan, to understand with them how the space technology has to be used in our all ministries. All ministries means it includes women welfare, sports, justice, and we ourselves are surprised. In each of these ministries, there's an opportunity for people to learn, and there's a technology will be helpful. When we talk about geospatial, the processing of this data is the tools which you are trying to learn, and also the security part of it. Because when the data is huge and you're in the economics part of it, then the security of the data and the analysis which you're trying to do will also be impacted onto it. So this is where all the three subjects which you're trying to deal are important, and how you can link with all these applications. So now coming to, you're all flush with water, okay? But then if you go a little upstream towards the hills which is there, like Annavaram and other places, so the water supply is not so much as what is there in when you come to the end part of the estuary. So there the government has certain schemes, and the technology today, every day we can know very clearly how much of water a small plant can take. See, every plant at different growth stages has certain different capacity of intake of water. This is what is called crop water requirement. This can be assessed from the space images very clearly at every stage. It can be a plant, it can be a tree, everything we can assess. And today we can, even for a paddy crop, you don't have to give flood irrigation. We can give a drip irrigation exactly at the root that much. So what happens to excess water? It can be used for other purposes. So the government has given schemes, and this is known to your Honorable Chief Minister also, Chandrababu Naidu, so which has been explained to him. So where we can pump this water to upstream, and with non-conventional energy, it will come through a gradient, and you can bring more area, which is not under agriculture, into the agriculture system. That means you're bringing more food crops and the yield. Why you need to do that? Because we are 1.4 billion population. Now today our yield is 310 million tons or 320 million tons is the food. But where it is coming? You're all seeing all the irrigated areas which have become rich are getting into construction. Then where is the yield coming? We didn't have many high yielding varieties which has come into the system. So where it is coming from? It is coming from small pockets of watersheds which has been nurtured. That means water conservation principles have been used. But these are 500 to 1,000 hectares in isolated patches. They're not like an irrigated land in one continuous stretch. So if you had to get that, go to those small places, how you can get fertilizer with single loading. That means end known, like a Zomato, it has to go from start to end. But Zomato is giving the processed food. Similarly, here also it has to go. Then per bag cost will come down. If the per bag cost comes down, then there's a profit margin. And the profit margin can go back to many other developments. That means the industry can improve upon their efficiency and you will get a return. What is that return? I'll tell you a technique of mind-boggling figures. There's one scheme called Manrega, Rural Employment Scheme. Some of you are aware of it. If so, you can raise your hand. I can see you all. Do you know during non-working times, there's what is called Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. The government gives employment because up to 180 days, the government can give for small and marginal farmers and landless laborer. Are you aware of that? Someone can raise hand. This is big. I am telling you, this we will get a billionaire. I'm going to tell you an idea where you can become a billionaire. You don't want to become a billionaire. I'm not seeing a single hand.
Raise your hand. Boys.
Telugulo చెప్పమంటారా?
మా చేతులు ఎత్తండమ్మా ఎవరు
Okay. Now this scheme was 30,000 crores. How much? 30,000 crores in 2016. So they wanted to buy cameras. Okay. మీ అందరి మీద ఫోకస్ అయిపోయారు ఇప్పుడు మీరు. Okay. Clear identity వచ్చింది. Okay. So now it is recorded in my memory also. I can trace you wherever I see you. Okay. Now the second thing is, see this scheme, why it is important is, and how it changed the dynamics, I'll tell you. So they wanted to have time tagging because they didn't know to whom really the money is going. 30,000 crores every year. So we helped them with whatever this mobile they have. We generated an app where we can record the location and what is the area which they are going to work. The name of the farmer is a small farmer, marginal farmer. This data will be on Bhuvan. In Bhuvan, you go, select your village, and just see what type of works are going on. Everything is there in the public domain. This is what is called good governance. That's where when the COVID has come, people have migrated. You have seen people migrating, right? Right from Mumbai, they're all migrated to Bihar, etc. And at that time only they had elections in Bihar, if you're aware. This scheme from 30,000 crores has been made into 1 lakh crores. How much? 1 lakh crores. So that much of data is now being collected every year. This money is going to the people, different parts of the segment. And in Bihar, the NDA government won because the people are displaced. They got direct bank transfer. They got work. And for the work, they got direct bank transfer, both in cash and kind. But this is all with technology. But now, how many beneficiaries? Really what happened, if you want to analyze, you have to use AI and ML tools. So this is an opportunity for you. And if you're able to make a difference, if you just keep half a rupee, అర్ధ రూపాయి, దాని వాల్యూ ఉండదు. ₹10 మీరు చూసారు ఇప్పుడు, ఓన్లీ రూపాయలు అంతా డిజిటల్లో, అవునా కదా? సో దాని మీద ₹10 క్యాల్కులేట్ చేసుకోండి, మీరు బిలియనర్ అయిపోతారు లేదో రాత్రి. ఓవర్నైట్ యూ విల్ బికమ్ ఇఫ్ యూ బ్రింగ్ వన్ సొల్యూషన్, యు ఆర్ ది విన్నర్. Okay, that is the type of data which is available today and the tools what is needed, because all the elected representatives today I want to know what is the impact of the social programs which they're doing. And they're ready to invest any amount of money to do this impact assessment. But here you have to be innovative, because there are a lot of people like you. There are so many people who got trained in AI and ML. How you will be unique is to understand the dire need and use your tools. Whereas technology-wise, the space will be launching many satellites. It will be launching satellites in the visible region, which I was telling, for agriculture, water resources, or the fisheries. Everything we have launched unique satellites. Is just not for Moon and Mars. And today we are celebrating the National Space Day, is to motivate youngsters like you. Think big. Though wherever you come from, like I also came from a village from West Godavari district, but when I went to Visakhapatnam and also in Hyderabad, and in my MSc time, they used to comment on me. Okay, why? The reason we tell, if someone tells as a respect, we tell I, right? I got uchadra never nano. Okay, but are you able to now get a feel of whether I'm Aigadu or from speaking in English, how I can mesmerize not only the NASA or US or including the Prime Minister, where I had to interact with him? It not depends upon where you come from, how you evolve yourself as a citizen using technology and tools, what difference we can make for humanity. So this is where you have to understand the basic difference. Either you feed a billion as a human being, or you make a billion. Both are only possible in this country because we have 1.4 billion population here. Any small difference you make, and even you feed a billion, you can become a billionaire. Because while feeding means you have to feed on something, right? You have to feed on a paper or on a paper plate or something like that. On paper plate also you pay 5 paisa or 10 paisa. So on 1 billion, if you get to 3 meals a day, and within 1 week, you're going to become a billionaire. Do you agree with me or not? చెయ్యత్తండి ఎవరైనా ఎగ్రీయా కాదా? లేకపోతే నా యూజ్ ఉండదు ఎంత కష్టపడి మాట్లాడటం మీతోటి. అవుతారా లేదా? క్యాల్కులేట్ చేసుకోండి మైండ్లో, because you're all AI ML experts, right? You should calculate the figures just like that in your fingers. We don't need any tools to do. Anyway, good. Don't worry about it. Yeah. Thank you. So this is the type of today the scenario. The government has tried hard that everyone has to use geospatial technologies, and geospatial data is what you're all looking at. And it is for every segment, which I told, all the 86 ministries in the government, and the land belongs to the states. So states has more money than the federal government. It is not the DST or ISRO or Atomic Energy has money. It is actually the state governments gets all the money because land is with the states. So whatever activity which I was telling you, there is another schemes like Green Revolution, second Green Revolution in Eastern India. Eastern India lo emoutundi ante chaala mandi after Kharif they leave as fallow. In that fallow has a moisture where you can go pulses and oil seeds. What I'm telling you, kindly go into the statistics and see. In 2015, there suddenly as this was suggested. So in the whatever the data existing, which is online, we didn't get anything new data from ISRO. Whatever the data and NRSC, we just analyzed, and 2 days we found ample of area where there is a soil moisture where you can have oil seeds and pulses. And in 2016, the rate of pulses fell because there's overproduction has come from this. That means what? We have to also understand how to store, how to send this for market, either nationally or globally. So this is all your data analytics. So data analytics needs tools, what you're all studying. I hope you'll agree on this, and you can also ask me questions on this subject. But you have to understand we have gone for Chandrayaan 3, because Chandrayaan 2 is successful in getting all the data, which I was telling you. In Chandrayaan 3, we landed on the moon. Here also there are a lot of tools and autonomous, because if you have seen the last lander, Vikram lander, was hovering on the moon surface for an exact area to land. It is able to stand and decide. Okay, like how you are looking at your drone so closely, we are able to do sitting here in lakhs of kilometers away. We are able to control. Means we didn't get any control. It controlled itself. Please understand this. There's a difference. We are not able to control anything. It is making a decision by continuously seeing images, so that it's not an upside down in a crater, but it's exactly on a flat land it landed. And it landed also how much of dust, almost like 2 tons of dust has come out, that we are able to measure with all the cameras which are located there. That means there are images, there's image processing, it is real time doing it, and then is able to land perfectly. So that's where the Pragna can come out, rover, and it could do its job in one moon day, that is 14 days. Because after that, there's no sunlight, so there's no energy backup for that. That's where you all have to understand, still, we don't have that kind of a launchers. Why the world looks at India as something unique? Because we are making very complex things in a very simpler way, very expensive things in a very cost-effective way. We are not cheap, we are cost-effective way. Why I'm telling you this cheap and cost-effective, this you have to remember. Most of the time people, even in your industry, in the IT where you are trying to go into the high end of processing, people look at we are a cheap labor. No, never accept that. This is where I had an opportunity to deal with a congressman from US who has to look into, because they have a specific clause in which we cannot launch satellites without a clearance from US, and that comes in the last minute. So that means any satellite which uses the components of US, it has to be cleared. So it's not the initial clearing, there's another clearing which is needed. That's a sentence which is there. To convince them, I have been given an opportunity. So I got 5 congressmen from US, coordinated by the Ministry of External Affairs, both from Republicans and Democrats. And they have been shown every facility to show how we are helping the civilians, including the technical facilities. That means the vacuum chambers or the vibration chambers, everything has been shown to them. They commented that we never seen such things even in NASA. We have not been shown in greater detail. But one of the fellow arrogantly asked me, are you cheap? That's where people come to you? Because we are launching many country satellites. So immediately my statement is, we are not cheap. We are cost effective. And we put a satellites in such a precise location than what you have asked and paid for us. We keep it in such a precise location, you don't have to use extra fuel. So the satellite, like your satellite life, which is meant for 3 years, is going to function for more than 10 years. That's where you are all coming to me. I use a singular. That means you are all coming to me. That's my statement in front of all my colleagues. So that's where to tell them that we are cost effective. If you want business, you have to do only with us, India and ISRO. See, this is where you have to be friends. Why I'm telling you, the developed countries will not allow you to become developed. The rich guys will not allow you to become rich. So you have to strategize yourself. You have to do your homework. We may be technologically great, but we also have to know how to negotiate, how to nurture our ideas. Whenever obstacles come, still you have to keep the spirit of urge in you. And that urge, for what all the challenges which is there, you have to think big. Think very simple solutions. Everywhere there's only simple solutions. But here you need to keep your passion. As I also told you, Chandrayaan-1 is successful is because the purpose is clear, direction is clear. If the purpose and the passion are not there with you, it will not happen what you're looking at. If these two are there with you very clearly, and your endurance for perseverance, no one is to stop you. No one can stop you. You can get or do whatever you want to do. This is my experience. And most of the time, which we never knew what is there on the other side of the wall, with the wall opened just like that. It's not a miracle. And we could solve the problems or look in what other people are thinking and able to negotiate and going to. So all over the country, today we are celebrating. Though we are remotely, my apologies, I could not come there because of my other early engagements to your institute. Maybe next earliest, I'll be there. And even few questions I'll answer. But if you have any further questions subsequently, I'll be in a position to answer. Because I've seen youngsters like you in IAS in the last segment, young students, what was not possible in 7 years, in 3 months, we could launch the payloads. And in 3 different batches, people tell that a project will not be completed if there's only working for 6 months or 1 year. But I had students from second year of undergraduation who in 3 years, that means 3 different batches, making 1 satellite. That means our documentation is very clear in terms of how do we design, how do we fabricate, how do we test it, we can do this. And they launched this satellite called InspireSat-1 and worked successfully more than the shelf life what is needed. Everything done by the students or undergrad students. They only took the satellite, put it on the launch vehicle, and during the COVID time, and they launched it successfully and it gave results. So your potentials are very big. Please understand this. Don't think that I don't know much of English. I don't know mathematics. I don't know statistics. I don't know much of physics. Don't worry. What you know, you have to collaborate with other people. I also doesn't know as an earth scientist, whatever I'm talking about satellites, their propulsion, accelerator, I don't know. I also sit with the students. I also sit with some faculty. I sit with the colleague students and try to understand. In fact, where I worked as a research scholar, I had geophysicists, I had electronics, I had geologists. Every discipline is there. But I sat with everyone, try to understand hydrology, agriculture, all these were in an area. Each one is working for their PhDs. But we had an opportunity to dialogue and discuss with one another. So we should not hesitate to talk to people. This is most important in life. So I have to conclude because it's 3:30. I'm supposed to conclude. So I'll give you little two things. What happens in ISRO and why we are successful. I'll tell you a small story here. So there's a king. Okay, he has a very pretty daughter. So she has come for the marriageable age. So during those days, the kings, what they used to do? They used to call all the other kings or the princes who are there to take a challenge for getting the hand of the princess, so that they along the prince they'll also get certain kingdom also along with them. So each one will come. So there's an announcement. A lot of princes around have come. So the king has taken them to a cliff where there's a river, and what is the challenge is you all have to dive, go to other end, and come back. Whoever comes back first, I'll give my daughter's hand. All the princes, because they're all handsome, they're all very strong, but they're well trained, so everyone stood in a line. By the time the go is going, so the king announced, "Be careful. There are a lot of crocodiles in this." Okay. After telling that, also one fellow jumped. He swam and came back. So everyone was praising him and putting him on the shoulders and then shouting, "Great, great, great." But then that fellow was telling, "First tell me who pushed me." He didn't jump, someone pushed him. Okay, this is what has happened in ISRO. So I pushed many a time. I didn't know what is the light at the end of the tunnel. But then we were safe. Now today I'm able to talk to you, means I'm safe. Okay, I'm getting my pension, means whatever the risk which I've taken, either financially or taking the technology per se, if I'm getting my pension means I did my job good. So no one is stopping for whatever deeds which I did. But I took a lot of risks in life. If you don't take risk, you cannot do business. Anywhere in your life, some element of risk. Either you take a calculated risk, but we need to change with time. If you type my name on Google, you will see how many places I worked. Because everywhere I had a small team, I had a team, big team, and then I had only 2 years. Within the 2 years, I had to work with the team, understand their strengths, and deliver big. And everywhere I doubled the budget. Suppose it's 300 crores, I took it to 600 crores and spent everything. The more you spend, that means more infrastructure, more activities happening. That's where the measure happens in any of the institutions, even in business. It's all tells them how much of turnover which you're trying to do. So, sir, here I will stop now. Okay, I think I gave a flair to all of you that how the space technology is very simple as it looks, but very complex. Everything you have to look at. Now, Sunita Williams, madam, because I had 3 interactions with her. And I know that she will come back safe. But then, such is the risk which people take. Okay, she's a woman. But again, she went there. And she knows there's an element of risk. But she's there and then she'll come back safe. But that's the type of thing you have to keep as ideals. And what they all speak. And the great of India. And how they will, every world is looking at. And whatever we are doing here is beneficial to the humanity. And the professor, you have to tell me where I have to stop. So, okay. So
you can continue, no problem.
Something like that I can go into Gaganyaan, and also I can speak on something else also. But what I'm trying to tell is each of the technology and sensors which are there, each one has a sensing mechanism. So you need to know little hardware, what a sensing mechanism is. It's not only the data, but also how the data generation, what it happens. Whether we can make it simpler. Because in your data analysis, there enough competition is there today in the world. World over, people are working already. So if to break that competition, where the data is getting generated, that is called sensors. These sensors gets converted into IoTs. That knowledge, if you are able to get, that we can simplify. Because those sensors are not in our country. And through the supply chain, you have to see. That's where we are making gas sensors. for Gaganyaan, okay, like hydrogen, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, methane. These are all done by young children like you. Okay, they only designed, they only fabricated everything in last 2-3 years, not a very large time period. That sensors we are now making biosensors, early detection of cancer. Within these 3 years, what time frame? When you do one sensors, you break the how to do it. We can do in another sensors. What these sensors are? If you go for a screening for your cancer, there are a lot of blood they take. This is one which is small drops of blood, or with a sputum you spit, and from that we can get the exosomes, and the exosomes is the communicator and very early detection. And we are aiming at now whatever ICMR is screen, we are trying to make this as less as 50 rupees, so you can use it at your home. But when you're using at your home, that gives an information: how many people purchased, what is the result, and how many gone to the hospital. Every of this data is becoming into the open. When it becomes so, you are the people who has to analyze this data to tell why this kind of a cancer is coming at one location. Is it certain environmental conditions changed? So what are those environmental conditions? So you can bring in a lot of ideas and applications and tools, which is money economics generation. And we did it because if an astronaut, if I'm sending into space, early screening is needed for them. Understanding the potential ICMR today given to IAST to do on pancreatic and lung cancer, which is very difficult to do. So it's all early detection which can happen on all these things with the type of sensors which we have made. So keep going like this. I can keep on describing each one of it because there should be end for anything and certain queries. So once again, my sincere thanks to the management of the institute and for all the faculty and also for the children who are all the future of this country. And we feel happy about you that because you're the torchbearers who has to make this country great and ensure the poverty is totally eliminated in the country. Thank you, Surekha.
Y.V.N., I want to ask you one question.
Yes, I'm available.
Can our children will have an opportunity to work with you?
Yeah, work with me means because today I'm a freelancer. Okay, I'm only on.
You can guide us. They want to do some projects.
Yes, definitely. They have to come with. Yes, Akka, I got your point.
Yeah.
Whatever, let them. The way I have told you, I can also do one thing.
Okay.
One small presentation as an PDF I will share with the principal. So it can go to all the children and faculty. Let them look into it.
Okay.
Whatever they understand out of it, then let them ask, think about a particular problem.
Yes.
And then discuss on the problem. Then I'll tell the pros and cons and how to proceed working on it.
Yeah, they will have one project with you.
Yes. Because these AI/ML are good tools, but if any error gets into it, it also gets propagated. You don't know how it is. Okay. So you should be very clear the sources of the data, what is the error, and you have to make an error budget. Once we know error budget very clearly, the outcome for which your tool you have applied, is it in the perceivable limits? This is where you have to see, because you have to perceive what is that output which is going. As long as you are supervising, there's no problem. When you go into the unsupervised domain, things can go wrong drastically. This is where you have to be clear. Okay, sure, Akka, I can do that.
So will you help us then?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Thank you so much, Krishna.
Thank you. Yeah, if any students have one or two questions, I think which has someone has raised a hand.
Do you have any questions, beta? No?
Virendra Subhash.
Subhash, do you want to ask any question?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
These are the artificial intelligence and machine learning students, sir. In the space oriented things are many things are there, but the students are having a very gap between their knowledge and their theory classes. So whenever we are visiting campus, please share those AML based with the space.
Yeah, that's right, Subhash. But then what I'll request you all is, since now the government has made it open, go into some sites. Either on Bhuvan, there's a site. You can download a lot of data for Kakinada area. So there's all images and different resolutions.
Okay.
How do you handle this data in a realistic thing if you want to address a particular farmer's question? Okay. So which algorithm which will give better results? What is the perception? Please understand why I'm telling you this error. Each one with resolution, there will be an error also in each one. Okay. So any device, any tool will have an amount of accuracy and there'll be some error. So this error we had how to budget. That is most important. So the reality, how nearer we are to the reality, also we should be clear. So the data in spatial domain, spatial means it has a location and it has a neighborhood. So all the business is with location and neighborhood, right? I hope you agree with me. So download this data as much you can, and then when you're munching this data so much, what happens in that? Which type of algorithms which you'll try to use? Start with very primitive things and slowly climb up to the top. That's the first exercise you kindly do.
Okay.
Okay, and also different formats of data. So because some are in JPEG files, some are as a text files. How this text file you'll try to bring onto the image. Okay.
Yes.
How do you bring into vectors? Vectors are basically the village or cadastre or whatever is it. Even the cadastre boundaries are available in the website. Okay.
Okay, sir.
And definitely I'll come. Meanwhile, you do this homework. You should put me with a lot of questions, really real practical real questions. Okay, I'll be more than happy to sit with you and discuss and then dialogue, because you have a huge human resource trained human
Yeah,
resource.
there is, yeah.
Okay, sir.
What,
Yeah.
Subhash? Are you interested? Subhash?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
Yeah, you work with him, because we can get a lot of data to work out with any project.
Okay, madam. Okay, madam.
Okay. Thank you, Baba.
Yeah.
Any questions, beta?
Anyone else has any question?
Ask him. Anybody wants to ask him any questions?
Anybody is there? Questions you are having, you can please, so we can understand. Yeah.
So, no questions?
No, this is what our Abdul Kalam ji has told. What he told is, as a kid, we have a lot of questions. But when you're getting into undergraduate courses, we hesitate to ask questions. What other people will think about us? This hesitation, please leave. Whoever, whatever they may think, unless you ask questions, we cannot grow. Even today, I have a lot of questions. When I go onto the road, I ask people asking questions.
Girls?
When I ask a vegetable vendor also, I'll ask questions. Without questions, whether you get an answer or not, we cannot learn. Please understand this. Generic questions we'll keep asking. How is the movie, this, that, and all. That's also good. How is the teacher? Good. But also there are so many other things which we need to observe and learn and ask questions. Okay?
Y.V.N, do we have a chance to visit NASA?
No, NASA, you can go to SHAR.
Okay.
Okay. Because we have SHAR, which was there is if the principal writes a letter to the program and evaluation group, PPEG, in the website it is there. So these many students, this is the purpose what we are coming, because in a week some days are for the visits, not on weekends. Okay, on the weekdays. So they will show you around the facility and then tell.
Okay, you can give me the information.
Yeah. So definitely they can go.
Okay.
And
Thank
also
you so
for the
much.
students' visits, there are a lot of concessions given by the railways. As a booking which you can do, go for a tour. You have to go to the real villages. Actually, I request Principal Garu also, Ram Krishna Garu, just take them to the village. Let them understand real. And when sun is burning, we are sweating. So then go and ask people what they need. And then you come back and see with the data what is available, using the tools, how we can solve that problem. And that will become a big business opportunity. Okay, I'm not just selling simply. I know. I earned money. I don't know how many of you, I earned it for the government only. But then I earned a lot of money. I did projects. I didn't sit in the chair. I gone to the States, got money. And that took crores of rupees. But I'm telling you, you can make billions. Okay? Not small amount.
With the hard work.
Yeah, hard work and thinking.
Yeah.
Thinking, openness, teamwork.
Right.
Okay. So if you permit, Akka, and
thank you so much, Beta.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm very proud of you.
No, it's very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm leaving now.
Yeah. Bless you, Baba. Bye.